I've been interested in Mustangs since I was a kid, about 15 years old, I guess, and I've always been interested in the car hobby. I restored a number of them over the years. This hobby to me has been a lifestyle, really. It's a passion that I have. I've always been interested in Ford cars in particular, and in the older Ford cars. It's something that when I find a car, it's usually a special car for any particular reason. I'm Bob Freya, and this is my 1965 Mustang, VIN number 100002. I located this car through one of the trade hobby publications, classified ads. The car was in Temecula, California, which is just about 30 miles from here. So I went up to see the car and I bought the car. I spent 2 years restoring this car. It was a very difficult restoration, technically, because it's such a historical car that it needed to have everything exactly right. So everything on the car was researched properly, extensively, and great effort was made to keep it exactly as it was built. Well, of course, the historical identification of the car has to do with the VIN number that was assigned at the factory. And it's located in a number of places on this body, but the two places that are most commonly seen are under the hood in the engine compartment on the left inner wheel well top, and also on the left-hand driver's door data plate. There's maybe 15 or 20 items on this car as a pilot plant pre-production car that are different from so-called 64.5 Mustangs. This car is painted in a color known as Caspian blue, and in fact, this car, not only being first in a number of different ways, it's the first one painted in Caspian blue. When we see the inside of the car, we'll notice the gear shift lever is not typically bent aft, it's straight, which is not the common thing you see. And the reason it's straight is because it's a Fairlane gear shift. This car has a Falcon engine, a Fairlane transmission, a Comet tail shaft on the transmission, and a Ranchero rear end. So it's quite different in many ways. The door lock knob on the driver's door is different in that there's not a grommet on the hole for that knob to protrude through. Other items include a dashboard, which was originally a Falcon version of a dashboard. We can see on this car that in fact it was brazed in place, not welded like they normally are. It has a dash pad support panel on the top of the dash to hold the cover on the dashboard screwed on, whereas later cars it was welded on. Another thing on this car that's very different is it has what's called a show car treatment, where they went around the car and wherever there's a metal seam, to hide that seam, they leaded it in, sanded it down, and painted over it so there's a clean flowing appearance and you see none of those seams. That was called a show car treatment. This car is very unusual in that it has very few options installed. They were trying to keep the price down since it was to be a first display car at the least possible price. So it has backup lights, it has windshield washers, it has a radio, and white wall tires. That was it. I've always liked in my hobby to develop the history on each one of the cars that I have. Of course, I had to do that on this car because it was significant. There are a number of items that will specifically identify it as to what it actually is. Of course, the 13 affidavits that I have from all the previous owners stating the time period they owned it and what they did to the car during that period of time. Also, there's an original letter in there from Ford Motor Company stating that it is, in fact, the first Ford Mustang hardtop. Of the 10 most significant collector cars of the last century, the Mustang has been declared one of those 10 cars. This is the first one.